Okay, so I think we are live. So hi, everyone. Very excited to join the World City community today and share with you some insights about the smart city and economic development in southern France, Provence region. So thank you for the organizers also for inviting us today. And thank you for all of you guys in the audience for listening to us today. My name is MATTHIEU VIS, and I'm representing Invest in Provence, or Provence Promotion, which is the economic development agency in the southern France, in Provence. Our role is to promote the region and support foreign investors in investing in Provence. So today, we'll have a fantastic panel with three experts. So we have two of them based in Marseille, Provence, and one is based in Utah, so an early bird. So thank you, Brenner, for waking up so early this morning. So I will introduce all of you guys one by one, but maybe first, just to introduce the discussion. So we'll discuss today about how Provence is welcoming disruptors to shape ecological and sustainable Mediterranean cities. So that's our topic of today. Short introduction about Marseille. So Marseille is the second city in France. Marseille-Provence, second metro area with about 2 million inhabitants. And it's typically the kind of city that is concentrating the challenges of a coastal and port city. It's a very spread out territory. It's 4 times the greater Paris in size, or 2 times the greater London. It's also the most important employment area in France after Paris. And it's a region with over 50% of natural areas. So a very natural metro area, metropolitan area. And if we look at the latest assessment report from the IPCC, the Mediterranean area will be one of the most affected regions in the world by the climate change. So this means for us we'll have to tackle important environmental and social consequences. So when focusing on those significant changes, we see this may be also an opportunity to launch innovations, to test new ideas, and to be able to tackle those challenges here in Provence. So this is what we did, for example, during the World Conservation Congress, was in September in Marseille. So we did this in the field of nature, environmental protection. And now we're launching the same thing about smart city, meaning that we would like to attract here disruptors, so innovators that will help us shape the smart city, the Mediterranean smart city. So maybe I'll start with you, Brenner. Brenner, you're representing Provence in the US with a group of entrepreneurs. So I'd like if you can explain how we are today trying to raise interest among the startup community in the US and attracting what I call the disruptors in Provence. So I'll leave you the floor, Brenner. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Matthew. So quickly, just a little tidbit about me and my connection to disruption. I spent 5 years as an adjunct professor of entrepreneurship, working with innovators and disruptors, predominantly from here locally in Utah, but also we were heavily involved in pitch competitions and innovation and hackathons all across the world. So I was able to participate in disruptor forums in Chile and in Korea, predominantly in other areas as we've tried to scan the world for people who are really trying to change the world, disrupt the world, not just economically, but also environmentally. So the program that we have employed for Provence Promotion as an effort to reach out to disruptors all across the US is a program we call the GF 100, which stands for Global Founders 100. So we've reached out to about 7 different city clusters across the US, invited people from all over, but predominantly those 6 or 7 city clusters, and asked investors, incubators, accelerators, and even academia to nominate a disruptor, an innovator, a founder of a company that has a global mindset. Some of those have a focus on clean tech. Some of those have a focus on clean logistics or clean manufacturing. Not all of them, but we have tried to push that side of things to see if we can get people who aren't just trying to invent the next technical wonder, but also a wonder that provides a better standard of living for all of us. So the initial effort was an outreach to ask the entrepreneur and the disruptor innovator community to nominate a founder, wherein we had 100 people that ended up being stack ranked as our top nominees. So we whittled that down, and now we've gone through a process of asking those founders to suggest their friends to vote for them so we can narrow it down to the top 10. So we're in the last phases of narrowing that down so that we can announce the winners of the top 10 of the GF 100. And the reason that we've been looking at this type of a mechanism to identify and nominate these top global founders is so that we can crowdsource from the entrepreneurial community those people who have an eye towards globalization, those people who are developing ideas and changing the world. It's a lot easier for us to be able to identify and quantify those people who are changing the world by identifying their peers and asking their peers to nominate them. So one of the partners that we've had in this effort is an organization called Connectpreneur, and Connectpreneur has a pitch event. It's now the largest aggregated pitch event in the world. So they bring together around 300 investors and around 50 entrepreneurs every single month and do online pitching to help identify some of the greatest new advances in technology. So as we've been reaching out and casting what we would call maybe a broad net in looking for founders and innovators and disruptors, we are then bringing them back to Marseille and introducing them to different incubators, accelerators, or even government-funded programs that are desperately looking for the next wave of technology, the next wave of change, to be able to improve the efficiency with which we do various activities in Marseille, one of which being port operations. So if we can find companies that are innovating in the shipping and logistics space that enable such an amazing, powerful port, one of the top ports in all of Europe, to be able to use that as a test bed or a sandbox to give these entrepreneurs the ability to test these new ideas in a very large commercial operating port is something that's very unique that we found in the world. Oftentimes, ports tend to be a little bit behind the innovation side, but we found that Marseille is not behind at all, but Marseille is actually pushing and leading and inspiring and supporting these entrepreneurs and giving them, whether it's capital resources or large corporate partnership resources or government resources, to enable them to take the traditional path of entrepreneurship and innovation, which starts out with a minimum viable product. So to be able to take what their idea has generated and convert that into a real world business application in a test environment with whether that's government policy latitude or even financial latitude that enables new ideas to see the light of day faster and to create strategic partnerships in order to then expedite the rollout or the commercialization of those technologies. So the GF 100 is principally an opportunity to recognize those who are innovating and changing the world, and then inviting those top innovators that align well with the objectives of Marseille to be able to then push their innovation much larger, much faster, as those founders are looking to expand globally and grow their business. So GF 100 is focused on US innovators and founders and inviting them to collaborate and partner with Marseille as they look to expand globally their presence and test new products. One quick example, one of the GF 100 nominees is a company called Drone Hive. And Drone Hive here in the US has 1,500 independent drone operators, all certified by the government, all with at least 3 different size and types of drone devices that are fully capable and able to do outsourced drone pilot work, whether that's for content accumulation or security or monitoring. And they're very interested in working with the port to see if they can explore document delivery, for example, for vessels that approach the port that they can send out a drone, gather the required documents, bring them back to port, facilitate in the digital documentation, as well as any physical inspection that may need to be done. So there are quite a few examples of applications that these innovators and disruptors may have created, but may not be specifically originally designed for application in Marseille, but they're finding ways to expand their technology to reach those target audiences. That's all I had, Matthew. So
Great.
if you've got questions at the top of the call, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you, Brenner. So I like this idea of test bed and sandbox, and the way you are also, how to say, building a community to attract those entrepreneurs here in Provence. So, and adding to that, I think it's the right timing, because we have also this capacity to welcome them in an environment where work-life balance is also well preserved here in Provence. There was a recent poll from LinkedIn, and in this poll, they were, analyzing professional mobility during the COVID crisis. And it has been demonstrated that Marseille is the city with the fastest acceleration in terms of attractiveness during this period. So I think it's also the right timing for them. So now I'll move to the next speaker, WULFRAN. Who is representing Euroméditerranée. So WULFRAN, you are the head of corporate relations at Euroméditerranée. So Euroméditerranée, that's really our smart city here in Provence. So I think it's important for our audience that you explain what is Euroméditerranée today, this very large urban renovation program in a city center in Europe, one of the largest in Europe, 7 billion euro already invested. So please, I'll hand over to you, and I'll let you explain more about Euroméditerranée and how you are shaping the eco-city of tomorrow.
Thank you very much for the transition and for the brief presentation of Euroméditerranée. And of course, I'm not alone to shape this whole new city, and at least the part of the city that we are trying to do so. So Euroméditerranée is the urban planning and economic development agency of Marseille, based in the city center, representing and being active on almost 500 hectares. So it's something quite big that has been going on so far for the last 25 years, since 2005. We often talk about an investment of 7 billion, as you said. A quarter of this is coming from public fund, and the rest is coming from private companies that invested in this perimeter. So it's true that we are said to be the largest urban renewal project of Southern Europe, so it's something quite big. And we try to give this project a sustainable effect, to give it the possibility to last 4 years once the city is completed. This slide briefly show you where we are. So located on the seashore of Marseille, you've got the old port on the right, and all what you see being in front of the sea is the first part of Marseille. I'm going fast on this slide, just give you some figures, and you'll be able to download this presentation at the end if you will. The objective for us is to invent a new model to build the sustainable city of tomorrow, and more specifically the sustainable Mediterranean city of tomorrow, because we know that there is this whole smart city context and ambition worldwide, but we need to adapt it locally. So that's why we are more based on the easy tech, low-cost kind of solution and research than the real smart city, taking into account the IoT, sensors, and stuff like this, which may be not suited to the local context that we have, and also the capacity of payment of local people that are going to be living here. So we've got to do something wise rather than maybe smart to build a city adapted to the local context. We're already active in this objective. We build a smart city neighborhood, which is a big point between a smart city and Marseille. Of course, Marseille, it exists and it's already active, and and ideal maybe on some subjects such as digital services, mobility, intergenerational diversity, and environmental performance. It's a neighborhood built and co-built by Eiffage, which is a huge, of course, building company here on 58,000 square meters, where you can see an example of what we consider being the smart or wise city of tomorrow, adapted to local ecosystem. The other neighborhood, being a huge urban laboratory, is called Les Fabriques, which is more or less the maker neighborhood, taking into account the historical context of the city and adding some new tools and innovative solutions that we're going to present a bit later in the presentation. The objective for us is to act as a urban lab, so we are trying to identify solution innovators that are going to be able to help us build this sustainable city, because we won't be able by ourselves to build the whole new city. So we work with both a large group, as the one that's going to be presented right after me, I guess, and also smaller groups such as startups. And that's why we created the MED Innovant, Sustainable Innovation Competition. The objective is to identify, source, and help innovative solutions coming from the whole world. They can be, of course, international. So if you would like to apply, please do so. We are seeking solutions in energy efficiency, urban planning, and many fields of activity, I guess, to identify solutions that can be deployed and tested in real solution, real life on our territory. So that's a challenge taking place every year in September. So I invite you to get more information and maybe apply to have the chance to deploy your solution in Marseille. Another solution, example of solution that we are establishing here with the help of EDF and ENGIE are two big seawater thermal loops that are already existing and deployed in Marseille. The objective is to reduce at up to 70% greenhouse gas emission using this solution that allow to heat and cool buildings here, both residential and tertiary offices, using the calories existing in the sea that you saw just located near to the perimeter that we're active on. So we use this renewable energy to cool its local buildings. Another solution is related to the Egalade Park, which is now doesn't look like this at all. It's mainly made of chemin de fer. I don't know how to say that in English, but you've got train actually on this area. That is going to be transformed into a huge park in 2025. The whole idea is not just to build a park, but the river that you can see in the images can be flooded, because we can face huge climate issues and rains, and this park will also be used as a retention basin, and that's the whole innovation about this, that everything can be flooded with no major impact, and then when the weather gets better, the park is a park again, I guess. So that's a way of implementing a urban solution.
1 minute conclusion, please.
Yeah, I just saw 1 minute on my screen here. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is the temporary experimental garden called the Experimentation Platform, based in Les Fabriques. That's a place where we are experimenting on 2,000 square meters, new types of permeable materials, soil fertilization techniques, association of plant species, and a rostering system that could be used to use as much resources as possible, but adapt them to the local ecosystem to build not the smart, but maybe the wise city, Mediterranean city of tomorrow. And that's it, Mathieu.
Thank you, Wilfran. Perfect. So, and thank you for explaining how you are mixing startups and large corporates to build this wise, smart city. So today we have also a large corporate with us, with François Orcil, who is the CEO of Citegestion. Citegestion is part of the EDF group. So, WULFRAN, you just mentioned some concrete projects from EDF in Marseille with this geothermal energy station, but there is also a river cooling project that will cool data centers. So EDF is quite active, but with François, we will understand today how we can leverage digital technologies to develop the smart cities of tomorrow. This is also in the decarbonization shift. It's also about what we call the tech for green, how the technology, how using the tech can help us decarbonize our cities. So François, I will leave you the floor, and I hope François is still with us. I cannot see you on the screen. Have we lost François?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect. I can see you now. Fantastic. So François, please.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here today and have this opportunity to let you know that our product is essentially made in the beautiful region of Provence, whereas the Saint-Victoire mountains are well painted by season. I don't know if you can see my presentation.
Not yet, no.
Yeah. I think I have got an issue to show it. No problem, I'll do it like that. Most of the weekdays, I have the chance to bike along the vineyards and other good landscape when going to work. Indeed, even if the headquarters is in Paris, 2/3 of our employees lives in Provence. From here, we manage news and 1,000 cities around the world. At Citegestion, we develop a software solution called Muse, and our R&D is based in Aix-en-Provence. Muse helps around 1,500 cities, as I said, with sustainability through energy savings, but also operational performance. And our solutions are built with and for the public sector. To model and take decision, to operate and maintain, to pilot, thanks to decision support and reporting, every asset in territories. So you understand that Muse is software to help the public sector to operate within the cities. One of our most innovative projects is currently with Louvre to accompany the renovation of highways in Wallonie, Belgium, in a 20 years project. Thanks to Muse, we manage remotely the intensity of lighting, but also when detecting an accident or other risks, the lights flash to prevent other vehicles to have the accident. We can also detect vehicles driving in the wrong way and alert response security teams and other drivers acting on the lights once again. So blinking the lights so people can see there is a risk. And Muse also helps to preserve nature in adapting the light to better respect flora and fauna. So thanks to Muse, we have an impact on the environment. Another exciting project runs in Dijon Métropole, French Burgundy region. Their Muse is the digital spine to operate all public services of the 24 cities of the metropole from one command center. Citizens can call or log a question or demand using a mobile app to the workforce of the 24 cities. The request will be handled and they will be kept posted thanks to the global digital ecosystem. So the workforce can also survey and react quickly when risk is detected in the metropolitan area, thanks to a centralized command center. Thanks to Muse and the whole ecosystem, the cities are more secure, better operated with and accurate communication to the citizen. With the equipment remote control, the workforce can directly act on the system connected to the electrical network. Using the MUSE platform, public agents can manage the indoor and outdoor patrimony of the whole metropole. And thanks to the innovative and smart software like MUSE, every one of us has a chance to live in the smart city territories like we do here in Provence and have a positive impact on our future. So as you understand, MUSE is designed here in Provence and in Paris, but we operate everywhere in the world. We also have customers in North and South America, in Asia, and everywhere in Europe. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry I couldn't share the presentation, but don't hesitate to go on our website to learn more about us.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, François. We'll see with the organizers how we can share the presentation to different decks. So I think what is interesting here is how you are building an ecosystem also of startups to accelerate innovation for the smart city, and this is exactly where we can help with Brenner. So maybe Brenner, I have a question for you. What's the ideal stage or size of business that is recognized by you, what you launched with the GF100?
Good question. What we're initially targeting are companies that have more than just a proof of concept, but they have something in the market, and ideally someone who has moved to probably a Series A round of funding. So they may be approaching 10 to 20 employees, 30 employees, and they've raised a next round of funding that allows them to expand globally. So that Series A is obviously past the early stage funding, and they're approaching more seniority level financing arrangements so that those investors are looking for global expansion. So we're trying to make sure they're not just laboratory concepts, but they're actually concepts that can be put into place very quickly, given the amazing resources that Marseille has to offer. It's meant to be a test bed for the product, not a test bed for just ideas. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect. I'm just looking at the time. So there are 2 minutes left. I don't know if there are questions among the audience. I'm just looking at the chat. Please feel free to ask if you have any question. And that will be quite short, but if we can answer, or later on, do not hesitate to contact us directly via email or LinkedIn, and we'll be glad to interact with you guys. And just feel free to connect directly as well. Just looking at the chat, checking again. Any additional comment? Maybe Wilfran, when is the next Med Innovant, which is the startup competition that you are launching every year with Euroméditerranée to detect startups and to support startups here in Marseille, Provence? Your mic is not is on mute.
Bonjour. The last edition just took place in last September, so it's just ended for this 2021 edition. We've got 70 plus company who applied to the competition, and the last, let's say the final round table for company who applied, and the jury is going to take place tomorrow. So soon we'll be able to tell who won, and as there were 5 challenges. 5 winners will be identified, and some of them, of course, will be able to deploy the solution on the field, in real life in Euroméditerranée.
So we got enough time to prepare for the next edition then.
It's every year in September, so feel free in 11 months to candidate.
Okay, I think time is over. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for presenting today. And just feel free if you want to connect directly via LinkedIn or email. Thank you.
Merci à tous. Thank you very much.
Merci.
Thanks.
Thank you, World City.
Very
Thank
much.
you, Matthew.
Thank you, World City. A few seconds left.